What is up, fishing world? Trevor Wagner coming back at you again. In today's episode, it's time I jump in the controversial ring. That's right, I've had my forward facing sonar for over a year now. So I have some things that I really love about forward facing sonar, and I have some things that I really don't like about my FFS and all the stuff that goes with it. So I'm going to make two videos. So today's video is going to be focusing on what are the 5 things that I really love about my forward facing sonar. And then I'll make another video talking about the things that frustrate me about forward facing sonar, some of the things that I'm really not a fan of on the FFS, and we'll dive into that in the other video. But this one, I'm going to talk to you guys about what I've found in the last year to be the best things that I love about forward facing sonar. So with that said, let's just jump right into it. And by far, the number one thing that I love about forward facing sonar is the ability to track my baits. So when you're fishing and you cast out, let's just say you're throwing a square bill or you're throwing some crankbait out. And the box says, hey, this will dive 6 to 10 feet or 3 to 5 feet. And so you're trusting that when you cast it out, that the bait is actually going down where it says that it's going to go down, and you're bringing it back to you and it's going to ride at that depth. Forward facing sonar takes that guesswork out. So you can truly test now if that bait says that it runs, from 8 to 10 feet or 8 to 12 feet. You bomb it out there, you start winding it down, and you find it on your forward facing sonar. You could track it to see, is it really getting down to the depth? And what I really like too, especially with crankbaits or when I'm throwing some other ones, is I could cast it out and see how long it takes that bait once I start reeling it back in. How fast does it get down? How long does it take for that bait to get to that optimum depth to be riding along? So that is by far the number one thing that I love about forward facing sonar is my ability to track the depth of that bait that I'm throwing out. Which kind of leads me into number 2, which is controlling the depth that my bait runs. Helps me control the fall rate of certain baits, especially if I'm throwing out like a Cinco or a swim jig. And I can cast it out, let it hit the water, and I could watch it go down till it gets to the depth that I want, and then I could start bringing it in, keeping it at that depth the whole time that bait is coming back in. So I could keep that bait in the optimum strike zone that I'm trying to attain for a longer period of time. That has greatly changed my fishing ability, because before you were kind of guessing. You were thinking that you cast it out and you would count down. Okay, count 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Okay, I think it's about this far down. All right, let me start slow retrieving it back. And then with forward facing sonar, that guesswork's kind of out. I still throw it out there and I kind of count it down so I have a good gauge in my mind of this weight of bait and the fall rate to get it to where I need to be. So if the FFS goes out, I have a better now keen sense of when I throw that bait out, how it's going to react. So FFS has helped train me to be a better fisherman by now seeing exactly what my cadence of count needs to be for what size bait that I'm throwing out and how it gets down there for me to retrieve it back. That has been by far being able to track how baits run, to control that fall rate has been, I don't want to use the word game changer because that's not it. It has really helped my brain understand now what it takes to get it to the strike zone, how long it takes to get to that strike zone, how fast I can reel that bait in without it rising up, or if I go too slow, it start to fall. So I learned the cadence of most of the baits that I throw now because of forward facing sonar. It has helped me become a better fisherman even when I'm not using FFS in that sense. It has helped train my muscle memory and my brain to be able to do that. So those two by far are paramount of FFS. Notice I didn't say catching the fish, okay, because it's not a box that just magically I put it on, I see the bass, I cast to it, I catch the bass. That is not what it does. And we'll talk about that later in the other video. So again, my first two are basically about watching the bait and retrieving that bait in the strike zones that I need it to be. Number three, forward-facing sonar thing that I really, really love is it helps me maneuver my bait around things that I normally would get snagged on. You guys all know, you throw treble hook baits, even some single hook baits, and you're throwing it around, not so much rock piles, even though it happens sometimes in rock piles, but I have a lot of submerged trees in the water. You got some brush piles in the water, and everybody knows you start throwing treble hooks around there, or even some single hooks, you're trying to get it through there, and inevitably you're snagged. You try your lure retrievers and you just can't get that bait back. Now, we've all lost baits, but I can tell you with FFS, I have a better picture now of what that branch looks like, what that submerged vegetation looks like. So as I'm working my bait through, I can use what I've talked about in number one and number two and move that bait higher in the column, let it drop down, and kind of weave it through those brush piles and those trees. And I have lost a lot less lures since I started using FFS. So it has saved me money by not losing those. And also it helps me see as I'm moving those baits through vegetation or through brush piles, over those rock piles without it getting snagged, I can also see, is there some kind of, are there fish in there reacting to me being that close to the brush pile? So it's really helped me see, keep baits, and not get hung up, save money, and see if there's any fish in there. I don't want to say bass, because a lot of times there's more than just bass hanging around your brush piles and your trees that will come out and investigate whatever you're pulling through. So again, that's my three. All right, so that leads me to number four, which I kind of talked about in number three. Your submerged vegetation, your submerged bushes, your submerged trees, all of those are highlighted so much better with forward-facing sonar than side scan. I love side scan. Side scan is amazing. I love using my side scan to locate those brush piles, those rock piles that are off on the side of my boat. Then I could turn my kayak and pivot my forward-facing sonar towards that submerged vegetation, towards that submerged bush. And then now I have a better picture of what it looks like. And is there anything hanging out around there that would warrant me to start casting there just to see what's going on and to work it through there. Again, they work in tandem. You can't be a good forward-facing sonar fisherman if you really don't understand side scan and locating that stuff in the first place. That's just first and foremost. You got to have both in play because it'll help you locate those rock piles, help you locate those brush piles, help you locate that submerged vegetation, help you locate those submerged trees, and then after you've located them on your side scan, then you could start targeting those individually with your forward-facing sonar. So again, number four has really helped me have a better understanding of the power of my side scan and then fine-tuning it down with my forward-facing sonar. All right, so that's my four. So what's my number five? What's the number five in there? Observing fish behavior. Now notice I didn't say bass behavior. Notice I didn't say crappie behavior. Observing fish behavior when it relates to your bait. So even if you're crappie fishing or bass fishing, or in my case the other day when I caught the carp with my FFS, it really helps you see how the fish in the water are reacting to the bait that you have. So a lot of times as you're moving your bait through, you will see fish move up, check it out. Are they looking at it? I've had some like They see my bait coming, and you'll see like here's my bait coming along, fish comes up, gets about here, and they're gone. They just leave. So it's like, don't know what that fish was, but they really didn't like what I was throwing. That really happens like if I'm using a larger square bill or swim bait. If I'm throwing something bigger and I see a little dot like start to come up and then they just dart off, they're like, oh my God, this thing's gonna eat me. So again, number 5 is just watching how the fish react to the bait that I'm presenting to them. And this could be good and it could be bad, because they could just be like, I'm out of here, and then take off, which happens a lot. And we're going to talk about that in the other video. All right, guys, so that is for the last year, that has been my top 5 reasons that I love forward-facing sonar. Number 1, watching how deep those baits run. Number 2, controlling the depth, how fast it falls, how fast I need to retrieve, how slow I need to retrieve. Okay, paramount. Number 3, not losing lures, being able to maneuver it through all of those rock piles, all of those brush piles, all of those trees that are submerged down. Number 4, being able to see those submerged trees and that stuff a lot better after locating it on the side scan. And then number 5 is just seeing how the fish react to the baits that I'm presenting to them. I actually get to see in real time how they're reacting. All right, guys, so that is my top 5 of why I love forward-facing sonar. Notice, none of it was, I love forward-facing sonar because I'm winning so many tournaments. I love forward-facing sonar because I'm catching the biggest bass in the lake. Nothing to do with that. It's made me a better overall fisherman and understanding my tackle a lot better than I have in the past. That is my overarching love of forward-facing sonar. All right, guys, comment down below. If you use forward-facing sonar, what is your number 1 thing that you love about forward-facing sonar? And if you don't have forward-facing sonar, that's fine. You know, it's okay. If you would like to have forward-facing sonar, let me know down below. If you absolutely hate forward-facing sonar, you think it's cheating, you think it's the worst thing, it is the devil, tell me down below. I'd like to know your thoughts and opinions on it as well. All right, guys. So in the next video, we'll talk about the bad things that I don't like about forward-facing sonar. But until then, if you can, get out and fish and catch some bass. All right, guys, until next time, have a great day.